who is Dr. Kissin. He is the clinical professor of medicine at Boston Medical Center and Boston University, with clinical focus on musculoskeletal ultrasound and education. Dr. Kissin.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Next slide. So the goal of the initiative here was to promote a workforce diversification by drawing underrepresented minority residents and medical students into the field of rheumatology through musculoskeletal ultrasound training. So we subdivided that into three parts: teaching the physical exam, teaching radiograph interpretation, and teaching musculoskeletal ultrasound. So how do you teach physical examination? So unlike the previous presentation where participants came in person, we thought we could do this virtually and have it available to a potentially greater number of participants without having to have them actually fly in and rent a place to stay for a month. But how do you teach physical examination from afar? We gave them video demonstrations of physical examination techniques region by region. We sent them physical exam oriented literature, and then we had them upload videos of them performing a physical examination and then gave them critiques. So this worked like this. So if you could click on the submission.
Check for the speed test for any.
So they're doing the speed test here.
I'm going to apply strength against you. You try to keep it up. Any pain?
No.
No.
And then they're going to check the empty can test.
Check for rotator cuff or biceps. So I'm going to apply strength against your arm and you're going to resist me. No pain?
And this goes on to other parts of the exam. And then I see this and I can watch it and then I can give them feedback.
When you do the empty can test, it would be better if you stood right in front of the patient and did the test on both arms rather than just one. This will make it easier for you to compare sides and see if there's weakness on one side compared to the other, in addition to any pain.
So I'm sorry if it's a little bit quiet to hear, but I have the little speak bubbles to the side, which said the same thing. So for X-ray interpretation, we have digitalized about 4,000 radiographs and categorized them by region. And the participants can go through and at a self-paced way, go through the teaching. And you can see this first slide teaching the names of the various bones of the wrist. And they can keep going and learn about the way different forms of arthritis look in different body regions. And then for the ultrasound portion, they get access to videos of how to perform an ultrasound scan of the wrist, as well as written guides. And then they also get a handheld ultrasound probe that they then use locally. They find their own model and they scan the wrist, and you can see an example of what that looks like. And meanwhile, this is what I would see on my laptop or computer, and I would see both the ultrasound image as well as the video feed of where they're putting the ultrasound transducer and how they're holding it to allow me to guide them in transducer manipulation to get a good image. So here's an example of a sample curriculum. They would start off by taking a little quiz on the material that they covered the previous day. They watch a 5-minute hip physical exam video, read the article, create their own video of them doing the hip exam and upload it. Watch hip ultrasound video, read the PDF on the hip exam, and then perform their own ultrasound exam of the hip and upload images of that. And then they do the X-ray lessons 1 and 2 for the hip. And then at the end of the day, at around 3:30, they would meet with me on a Zoom session, and we had 3 residents participate at a time, and we would have a joint discussion of what they thought, what trouble they had, and how to fix it. And then there would be 20-minute individual sessions with each of them, with them showing me how they scan a hip on a model and getting direct feedback on how to do that. And there was a different focus each day through the 20 days of the program. So here's an example of the various quizzes. Each quiz would include a physical examination. So here's physical examination of the fingers, x-rays of the hands and wrists. This is sort of an extended multiple choice, and ultrasound images to interpret. So we had them do a comprehensive pre-quiz on day 1 of the program, and then they did mini quizzes after each of the first 10 days, then at the end of the program, and then again 2 months after the last day of the program. And so here are the results. So you can see we had 6 participants. We had 3 participants in 1 month, and then a couple of months later, we had 3 more participants come through. Again, coming through means virtually. They're all still at their home institution, just tuning in. And in addition to what I've said, they also participated in our educational rounds virtually. You can see in column 2, the pre-course score on the comprehensive quiz, and this is out of 150. You can see their score improved substantially by the end of the course. And you can see that it dropped off a little bit, but still maintained much of the gain when they repeated the quiz 2 months later. The second group is not quite 2 months out yet, so we're waiting to get those done. And you can compare that with the scores of our own first and second year fellows. And you can see that by the time they've finished the 1 month program, they're actually scoring similarly to our fellows, in fact, better than some of our first year fellows. So our post-course feedback, and you can see that of the 6 participants, all 6 thought that this elective was in the top 10% of electives that they've ever taken. And then in assessing their own musculoskeletal exam skills, 4 of them thought they were in the top 25 and 2 were in the top 10 by self-assessment. And did this elective provide exposure to aspects of education and rheumatology that they hadn't previously had? All 6 said yes. And they said yes for different reasons. They all mentioned ultrasound, some mentioned x-rays, some mentioned physical examination. So as far as their future plans, 5 of them plan to become rheumatologists, and 1 is a family medicine resident who plans to get further training in musculoskeletal ultrasound to apply to her practice. And how did it affect their future careers if they're already planning to become rheumatologists? Well, it changed the direction within rheumatology where their focus will be. So they're all much more interested in musculoskeletal ultrasound and thinking about getting certified, and intend to practice both in interpretation of x-rays and in a physical exam of the MSK system. So in conclusion, this DEI elective enhanced knowledge and skills of all 6 URM participants, and all participants applying for a rheumatology fellowship will be more likely to succeed due to the skills and knowledge that they've gained during the elective. They all scored higher on the test than first-year fellows, so when they come into fellowship, they're going to have that much of an advantage in succeeding in their fellowship program. I think that in applying to rheumatology fellowship programs, having done this elective will also bolster their chances for matching at competitive programs. Things that were learned by me during this elective is we wanted participants to be able to spend a month on the program, and we weren't sure where we were going to get the most uptake, whether this was going to be in medical school or in residency. And to my surprise, all of our participants were residents. We had only 1 medical student apply and then drop off because of issues related to scheduling. So it was actually easier to get residents to participate for a month than medical students. Like I said, it was a great experience educating these residents. They were all very excited about it. They all did continue to do some non-elective work during the time, but because it was virtual, that allowed some flexibility, and they still had time to, say, do their continuity clinic while completing this elective, which is perhaps why they were allowed to and able to participate in this month-long curriculum. So next slide. So I'd like to thank the Arthritis Foundation for the support and funding for this program. I know that all of the participants will be better for it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kissin.